Hi guys, it's Megan from Vigilante Vibes, and I am here with another character breakdown. This time, it is the Red Guardian. I am trying to get through all of the main characters that will be in Thunderbolts, the movie, which comes out like next month in 2 weeks. So, I guess when this posts, like a week, I guess. I don't know. I don't know when I'm posting it. I just live life the way I do. But like I said, this one will be Red Guardian. I will give you the MCU version and then give you the comic version. And then I will give you comics at the end to check out this character so you could get a better idea of who they are. So let's just dive in. In the MCU, Alexei Shostakov. One thing to know about me is names are my Achilles heel. I am the worst. So if I mispronounce it, please don't take it offensively. I am just dumb. Alexei was the Soviet Union's first official super soldier, better known as the Red Guardian. During his time in the military, he became close with General Dreykov, the guy in charge of the infamous Red Room. After the Soviet Union fell in 1992, Alexei was sent undercover to Ohio on a secret mission to take down a Hydra-controlled shield facility called the North Institute. He went in posing as an average American dad, teamed up with Melina Vostokov, and they posed as a family with two surrogate daughters, young Natasha Romanoff and Yelena Belova. After completing the mission in 1995, he went back to Russia, but Dreykov later threw him into the Seventh Circle prison for speaking out against the government. Fast forward to 2016, when the Red Room came back into play, Natasha and Yelena broke him out of prison to help track down Dreykov. Once he reunited with Melina and the girls, they teamed up to take the Red Room down for good. After stopping Dreykov, Alexei stuck around to help Yelena shut down the rest of the Red Room cells around the world. That was the MCU version. I really dig the MCU version. I do think they moved on from the Red Room era way too quickly. There is so much more there, but that's just me. But I love David Harbour as the Red Guardian. I think he's phenomenal. And I think he works with Yelena Florence Pugh very, very well. Now, in the comics, there's actually quite a few Red Guardians, but today we're going to focus on the one that David Harbour is playing. Alexei Shostakov was the first version of the Red Guardian and was created by Roy Thomas and John Buscema, first appearing in Avengers number 43 in January of 1967. Alexei was born in Moscow and was the husband of Natasha Romanova. So it wasn't his daughter. Alexei was one of the Soviet Union's top test pilots, seriously talented and trusted with some of the most dangerous secret missions out there. Even though a lot of his work was classified, the state media hyped up some of his other missions, and he ended up being celebrated as a hero of the Soviet Union. His personal life seemed just as solid. He was married to the famous ballerina Natasha Romanova, Black Widow, as we know her, which is just, it's off-putting, but it's whatever. I don't care. Eventually, the KGB decided that Alexei and Natasha would make great special agents. While Alexei was off on mission, the government told him he had a new role and that he had to completely cut ties with everyone from his past, including Natasha. Meanwhile, back home, Natasha was told that he died in an explosion during a rocket test, which is like, that's pretty cold, right? That's rough. After her husband's death, Natasha, who was going by Natalia Shostakova, was devastated and wanted to do something worthy of his memory. The KGB was ready for her reaction, though, and quickly got her into training to become a spy known as the Black Widow. Eventually, she used her maiden name again, which was Romanova, and ended up defecting to the United States. As for Alexei, the KGB trained him to become the second Red Guardian, a special agent meant to be the Soviet version of Captain America. Over the course of his training, he became a harsh, ruthless man, completely different from the guy he was with when he was with his wife. Meanwhile, the People's Republic of China developed a weapon called the psychotron that could cause mass hallucinations. It was a major game changer, and it gave China a way to weaken both the US and the Soviet Union. But to use it, they needed a way to get the psychotrons close to their targets. That's when they realized they needed Soviet submarines to bring the psychotrons to American shores. So the Chinese shared their plans with the Soviets and let them in on their strategy to conquer the US. The Soviet Union was intrigued by the idea of ending their rivalry with the Americans so easily, so they sent General Yuri Brushov and Alexei, now the Red Guardian, to a secret Chinese base where the psychotron prototype was being held. Brushov's job was to assess how effective it was, and the Red Guardian's job was to protect both him and the device. For this mission, the KGB put the Red Guardian under the command of Colonel Ling, who ran the Chinese base, meaning it was a whole new dynamic for Alexei since he'd never met Brushov before. Black Widow showed up at the base on a mission for S.H.I.E.L.D. and got captured. Her boyfriend at the time, Hawkeye, went after her, bringing along Hercules. The Red Guardian caught Hawkeye and tricked Hercules into the psychotron, where he got hit with crazy hallucinations. Then the Red Guardian took off his mask in front of both Hawkeye and Black Widow, and she realized with shock that it was actually her husband. The Avengers, led by Captain America, showed up soon after, and the Red Guardian saw his chance to prove that he was better than Cap. So the two fought. Just as Cap was about to win, Colonel Ling zapped him with an electric grid, knocking him out cold. That ticked off Red Guardian, but Black Widow escaped and started heading toward the Psychotron's control center to destroy it. The Red Guardian, still caring for her, tried to stop Colonel Ling from killing her, but Ling shot him instead. The Widow used her Widow's Bite to destroy the Psychotron, causing explosions and fires all around the base. As Ling aimed a laser gun at Captain America, hoping to get revenge, the dying Red Guardian wouldn't let him kill Cap. With this last strength, he shoved Ling's gun aside, and the laser hit a gas pipe, sparking an explosion that caused a volcano under the base to erupt. It was a whole situation. It was a lot of bad stuff happened at once. The base, along with the Red Guardian and Ling, was destroyed in the blast. The Black Widow and the Avengers made it out safely. Later, Russian agents made a life model decoy, an LMD, of Alexei and tricked Natasha into thinking her husband was still alive. They used the decoy to force her into doing espionage for him. For them, I mean. But once they got what they needed, the Russians revealed the truth and tried to kill Natasha. With Ivan Petrovich's help, she defeated them and destroyed the LMD. The Red Guardian's likeness also showed up a couple of times in the Legion of the Unliving, first as a pawn of death and the Grand Master to take on the Avengers, and later in a version of the Legion created by the Grim Reaper's supernatural powers. It gets really weird, but I like it. The U.S. government tried to hand Natasha over to Bulgaria in exchange for Madam Hydra, Viper, being released to the U.S. Once again, Natasha crossed paths with Daredevil, and together they teamed up with S.H.I.E.L.D. to take down the people behind the plot to turn her over to the Bulgarians. During the mission, Natasha discovered that Alexei, her husband, who she thought was dead again, was behind the whole thing. He's the worst husband. He just trash. He had planned it all as a way to get at her. Natasha confronted him with S.H.I.E.L.D. agents and the Avengers backing her up, and Alexei was taken into custody. That's gotta feel good as her, though, to see him in handcuffs. Alexei later showed up again, this time as the assassin Ronin, and became a member of the Dark Ocean Society. He brought in a young girl with illusion powers to be his new Phantasma, and decked out a bunch of soldiers with armor and powers that mimicked the supreme Soviet members like Vostok, Perun, and Crimson Dynamo. But Alexei and his crew were taken down by Black Widow, Hawkeye, Mockingbird, with some help from Phantasma after Natasha convinced her to switch sides. He was then taken into S.H.I.E.L.D. custody again. Afterward, Alexei was locked up in a S.H.I.E.L.D. prison in Antarctica. When S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed, the facility was sold to a guy named Justin Kask, who turned it into a training ground for super soldiers. Alexei refused to join the American Pigs and stayed in prison until Yelena Belova showed up to break him out. She was hired by Kask to test his security team, but ended up betraying him, teaming up with Alexei to escape. Alexei split off for a bit to get revenge on the doctor that tortured him there in Antarctica, but he eventually managed to escape when the building exploded. Alexei ended up teaming up with a group of Black Widow's enemies who were pooling their resources to take her off the grid. Since killing her seemed nearly impossible, they decided to implant a false memory in her, making her forget her past so she could live a quiet life with a husband and a son as an architect in San Francisco. Alexei wasn't keen on the plan at first. He had moved past his hatred for Natasha, but he joined the group, secretly hoping to find a way to save her. But things went south when the leader, Weeping Lion, got impatient with the whole memory simulation and sent his man to take out Natasha. That triggered Natasha's memories to come flooding back, and she reconnected with her old allies. The group then attacked her, but during the fight, Alexei stepped in to save her, taking a bullet from Madame Hydra that was meant for Natasha. Alexei teamed up with Yelena to steal 4 hard drives that contained records about an old military mission he'd been involved in called Operation Snowblind. The mission was supposed to destroy evidence leaking the USSR to corruption. Alexei managed to grab the drives, but instead of destroying the real ones, he swapped them for fakes and hid the originals, planning to leak them to the Russian people later. Their first couple of heists caught the attention of the Winter Guard, but Alexei outsmarted them by sabotaging Crimson Dynamo's suit and spreading rumors that there was a mole in the team. Things got tricky when Alexei tried to grab the final drive from Dracula, who invited the Winter Guard to his place, hoping to play both sides. It's such a Dracula thing to do. Alexei convinced Dracula to hand over the drive, but once he had it, he betrayed Yelena, leaving her to deal with the Winter Guard while he ran off with the drive. Vanguard and the Red Widow eventually caught up with him at Lucamore State Park. And despite Alexei being way more powerful than them, they managed to destroy the case with the hard drives. Alexei ended up leaving Madripoor with nothing. Later, Yelena reached out to Alexei to tell him about Bucky Barnes' new Thunderbolts team, who were on a mission to raid Red Skull's castle in Argentina. Alexei joined the Thunderbolts mid-mission, bringing the Red Guardian shield with him. How he got it is still very unclear, but I kind of like the weird mystery there. The team succeeded in destroying the castle and killing Alexander Lukin, Red Skull's host body. In the final fight against Red Skull, Alexei went with the Thunderbolts to Latveria, where he took out the base's defenses all on his own before getting knocked out. He woke up just in time to grab the Contessa's head and teleport out with the team before Doctor Doom destroyed the base with an energy blast, killing Red Skull in the process. Back at Thunderbolts Mountain, Alexei recovered from his injuries and even had an arm wrestling match with the U.S. agent while the team planned their next move. So that is Alexei the Red Guardian. I like him as a character. It's just he's not a big character. He's more of a side character, if you will. But as always, I have some comics you can check out to get more familiar with the Red Guardian. All right. So Widowmaker number 1 through 4, Black Widow: The Coldest War, Black Widow from 2020 numbers 2 through 5, Widowmakers Red Guardian and Yelena Belova number 1, and Winter Guard number 1 through 4. If you know any other comics that should be checked out to get to know Alexei better, please let me know in the comments, because these are just the ones I know of. I am not an expert, obviously. So thank you for watching this character breakdown. Be sure to check out my other breakdowns, and also be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more of these breakdowns. So with that being said, have a marvelous day.